Wait, is there something in my teeth?
So stupid.
Okay, this mic thing is irritating me because I'm like, I'm the majority of this podcast, I'm trying to hold this thing straight. So like, it's like I'm holding my shaft. Bro. Here or something. Screw this. Welcome back to What's Your Thrill podcast. We're gonna be talking about our why, and we got Chloe, Kurt, myself, Zion, and let's just get right into it. So, what is your guys' why? Let's start with you, love.
Okay. Well, I think we were all just talking about it, right? Like, I think everybody's why in this lifetime and on this earth is to serve the Lord and fulfill his purpose for our life, which is to glorify him and be a disciple to Jesus. So, yeah, I feel like my why is definitely that. And I think we all just have different ways of fulfilling our why. Although our main like drive and our main purpose in life should all be the same.
Yeah. If I'm gonna be honest, my why had to change because in the beginning I wasn't walking with God, and it was kind of selfish. It was for money and to be financially free, and that was kind of like the big driving point, and that's why I've always came up short. And until I found you, we started. It wasn't right away, but we was going to church. Like we still wasn't like really walking. We were just going, and then when you finally got plugged into small group and stuff, that's when like everything kind of took a turn, and like the why changed, and it became really to fulfill God's like what he told us to go out and make disciples, to just do his will. And that's been like a big game changer, especially like in our family and in our business. But like makes me realize like being a father, I don't need to provide everything materialistic or have all this and all that. And like I was so worried about making sure Brinley has a home when she gets older, but no, that doesn't even matter. The main purpose is that she knows who God is and knows God's love, and like through us, and like leading by example. That's kind of what changed. Where like I was like, okay, wait, I'm not doing this for me. Like I'm doing this for something way greater. You know what I mean? Like we got to use this business to reach people, and he's blessed us so much through this business that, cousin, like that's like now all I think about. You know what I mean? Like is trying to do that. So I don't know.
I think a big thing was realizing that no matter how much money you have, you're never going to be fulfilled if that is your God. And the only true fulfillment you will find in this lifetime is through the will of God. And I think that was a big like eye-opener for you, because we got a taste of money in the beginning. And I remember it was like we were foolish, not really, but like we weren't really responsible. It was like our first like taste of money. We were like 22 maybe. And I think when we realized that it's all just fragile, like that money will come and go. That money is just a tool for our business to be used by God. And yeah, when you like talked about like the whole thing with the house, like this is a conversation you and I have had a lot. And I was basically telling him, like, when you feel like you're in control of what Brinley has, when she comes to the point of like she's ready to get a home, in a sense, you're not putting your full trust in God that he's not only providing for you, but that he's going to provide for your kids. And so I was explaining to him, I was like, you know, and like we're in that age right now of like finding like our next home, whatever it is, like where we're going to be, where we want to settle down, if we want to buy a home here, all these things, right? And his thought was always like, well, I want to buy my first home that can be used for when Brinley gets old. And that conversation just came up, and it's really just to show that you have to surrender everything to God. And yes, it's not bad to have those things, right? Like it's not bad to have a home for your children when they get older. But when that's like your one and only goal, And that's the thing that you're stressing yourself out
Yeah.
about because you feel like you have to do these things
Yeah.
or Brittany's going to struggle. And you're really not putting your full trust in God. And I think that was a hard thing for us to do with our business because we walked into faith after we started our business, that the whole structure of it, the whole purpose of it changed. And honestly, now, like, sitting here, it's really cool to see, like, when I think of our goals, like, now, they're very, very different from when I remember back then that we would want. And I think God gives us talents and he gives us passions that can all be used to glorify him. So it really came down to us sitting down, praying on it, asking God, why did you give us this business? Why did you trust us with this business? And what was the purpose? And it really came back to, how can we use this business to glorify you?
You said that so much better than what I was trying to say, bro. Because I was all over the place, but
No.
yeah, that was exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like you have to rededicate your why, like, all the time? Like, for me, I feel like I have to, even though my why has transformed so much. Like, before it was basically to glorify myself by making really cool movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was idolizing these other filmmakers who were getting glory for making really cool stuff, and I guess I kind of just viewed that as like the end goal.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Like, it's not the end goal. It's such an unfulfilling.
Yeah. You'll be chasing that forever, right?
Yep. And then it transforms too. Like, even after dedicating my life to Christ fully and completely changing what my why is, it's easy to like every morning I still gotta rededicate because I can shift into like, the why is to be able to buy a home here eventually, or like for my career to look like this, or for me to be able to look like this, whatever it is. Like, I have to remind myself what my why is.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you cannot be satisfied and happy where you're at right now and what God's blessing you right now, you won't be happy
Ever.
with anything else. Like
when you get the thing that you're desiring.
Yeah.
You have to
And that's
be,
what it is.
You have to be comfortable and happy in the season you're in right now. That's what's gonna, I feel like that makes the difference, because like for the longest time I was like chasing, you gotta be like Grant Cardone, gotta do this, you gotta do all these things. And like I was forever gonna chase that until like you told me and everyone was like explaining to me like, oh no, like the season you're in now, you need to appreciate what already God has done, because you came. I mean, really, really look how far we came in that short amount of time.
Yeah. And already you weren't appreciating it,
Yeah,
right?
and I wasn't
So
appreciating it.
how
I just,
much
like,
more could you have gone without ever just sitting back and being like, wow, like this is what I dreamed of X amount of years or months ago.
Yeah.
And then you're still only now looking forward to what your like goals are. Never to sit down and realize like
I'm already blessed. Thank
living
you.
the
You know
dream
what I mean?
that I had one day.
And that's why this Rhythms book has actually been helping me, because it's making me, when I'm praying, it's like it's putting me more in a surrender position, and I'm like actually having more gratitude and thankfulness to God, and like, cause you already gave me so much, like thank you. You know what I mean? Like thank you. And like that's like the one benefit of the Rhythms things I'm getting right now. It's just like just being more thankful for God in our lives.
Yeah.
And like that's huge.
Going back to what Kurt said too, like
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I think
No.
your why always has to be realigned, because right, the bottom line is like we're not Jesus, right? And like we never will be, no matter how much we strive to be. And like we should be striving to be more like him every single day. In the world we live in, the fallen world that we live in, the social media world that we live in, where we fall to comparison, that feeling of just wanting more and more and more and more, I think it gets to everybody at some point, right? And so I think it's a good thing to always realign and make sure that your why is really what it should be. I think for me, I had to come to this really, really surrendered position of like realizing that those people that you look up to, those people that you want to be like, those things that you want, it can all look so good. But if they don't have God, they're not fulfilled, no matter how good it looks on the internet. And I always had to tell you that, because you like, it looks good. Like it really does. And until you really, really know God, you can really use your discernment to know that without God, it's not fulfilling. And I think that's why the shift of this business has been fulfilling, is because now we're seeing it as God's business. And that was a huge change for us. Like, this is not our business. This is not by the works that we have done. Every single thing that we have, the team that we've built, the equipment that we were able to like purchase and like have for our like benefit, like, is all from God. And we should take no credit in that, really, because it's not our business, you know?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with money. Like, the money is not ours. That money is God's money, and he's allowing you to use it as a tool, but it should not be your God, and it shouldn't be your end goal.
Yeah. Yeah, that was right on the head. Because that was explained really well.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have anything else. Like, I feel like we talked about how that shift is hard. And I think it's hard with everybody in work, whether you own a business, whether you don't.
Whether you don't.
Yeah. I think it was hard for us to merge the two. And I don't know why, because now it seems like, oh, that makes so much sense. But like, in the moment when we were faced with that, we were faced with, you know, the question of like, do you really surrender every aspect of your life to God? And like, the business just stuck out so far.
Yeah, and that's like the hard one for me, because I was like, I was confused when I first started, and like everyone was saying, oh, you just gotta trust God. And I was like, what you mean? So I don't do nothing? You know what I mean? I'm not gonna do nothing, and just something's gonna happen. And like, I didn't understand. I was like, no, that's not how it works. So like, that's not how it works.
He was always the one that thought, I just have to work harder, which it's not false. Like, we do need to still work hard. God does not like laziness, but go ahead. Sorry.
No. You're going on you're saying it good. Because I don't know how to word it.
No, but I was just saying that you had to realize what it really meant to surrender without giving up your whole effort.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I think what shifted for me too is understanding that things that were our why and like our idol, we were so passionate about it because a lot of them can be used as tools for your why. So we were talking about how, like, for me, filmmaking, being like a good filmmaker is no longer my why, but it's a tool.
Yeah, that's good.
God has given me
that's super good.
the like background that I have and all the situations I've been in and the interests that I have for a reason. And I've been able to use it to develop the tool of filmmaking, but now I'm doing it for a different reason.
That's good.
And when I started to understand that, I then started to notice, like, oh, that doesn't just mean filmmaking either. Like, some things that I've developed through filmmaking, like interviewing and trying to ask deep questions and be a good listener and like let people talk. I've been able to use that now in like youth ministry when we do small groups with kids, or like storytelling and like piece a coherent story together and get like a meaningful ending.
That's good, bro.
Like, you know, I learned that through like screenwriting and stuff, but now I get to use that in like lessons for like youth ministry and stuff. So,
bro, it's like that just made me realize something too. Like what you're saying, like being a good listener, like doing that for filmmaking helped me too in a different area. Like when I'm in my small groups, like I just realized that just now when you talked about it, like I'm able to like get a little more deeper than I was before, just because we practice that when we do interviews and stuff. So it's like, I didn't realize that till just right now. That's cool.
So, and it's not comfortable, right? When we do interviews before, we'd be like,
so what's your name?
Like, can you do the interview? Because it is uncomfortable. It's kind of like it's not very natural to do, to just like, well, one, mic someone up and like
under their
go
shirt.
under their shirt.
That's the most, and then you have to get into their personal life.
And tell them count to 10 for sound.
Yeah, it's like an intimacy that you don't usually equate with like work. For most people, you don't have to get that intimate.
And it's also most of the time a stranger.
Yeah.
Like, it's someone you don't know.
Yeah.
Or you briefly know, but you don't know them like that.
See, that's where it helped me. Like, it helped me get more comfortable talking to people, because if you know me, small talk is not my thing. I'm not good at that. So that like
big talk only for this guy.
Big talk. But no, really, it really helped me to like, I don't know, like really get deeper with somebody and like actually like hear them and like see what they have to share, like what they're going through in small groups. That's what it helped me in. Yeah, I think that kind of ties to, I've been learning too, like how rewarding discipline is.
and I've been learning more about spiritual discipline. But you know, like that is a fruit from a discipline that you had. If you took like the path of least resistance, you could have just done really basic interviews and just had people say their name and their job and stuff, and then you move on. But like, you cared a lot about your craft, so you wanted really deep stories from people and to tell really like impactful stories. So through that fruits of it, to be able to like have more meaningful conversation and like disarm people and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Huh.
Yeah.
That's
I feel like too, when we took money out of the main
goal
and the
And
main
driver.
like driver of our business, I feel like it created better relationships with our clients, right? I mean, can you agree? Because I feel like, I mean, it is the world, right? Like a lot of times, like people give you their time, they want money or they want something in return. And I feel like when we took that feeling of like, I owe you, you owe me, or I did something for you, now you owe me. When we took that out of like our business, and we were able to, because this is not our business anyway, right? Like we don't need to take back everything we gave because it's God's business. I think.
And we did more than that. Like, I feel like we did more than what we asked to, or what was asked, right?
But I think in that created better relationships with people. And I think that's something that we can pride ourselves on, is that we care a lot about the relationships that we have with people that we work with, clients that we work with. And I think it's coming back to like our next like forefront goal of wanting to give back to the community by using our talents for free, which it's not, for one, it's very time consuming and a lot of effort, and you know, all your guys like knowledge and wisdom of your craft goes into this. Like, it's not just a throwaway give that we're doing, but it really stems from us surrendering this business to God and knowing that there's a bigger purpose out there than just to gain wealth, right?
Oh, that's like a full circle moment, because when I first was ever starting, I met with a mentor, and he told me, it was like, I was talking to him about money. I was like, yeah, how do I gain this amount? And he stopped me, and he's like, wait, hold on. You put that first. You're not gonna get anywhere. It's relationships over money. And I was like, at the time I didn't understand what he meant. I was like, what? I was like, cause what you talking about? But I was like right now, it makes so much sense. Like, building relationships is so much greater than any money you could ever have. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're millionaire, billionaire, whatever. Relationships is so much more important.
Yeah.
And I think that's what God even called us to do, right? Is go out and make these relationships with people and like share his good works and what he does for us, what he did for all of us.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think, I mean, I think our biggest thing now is to create good relationships, and
we actually care about that. Like, we just met with another person that helped us in a way, and like we just wanted to like really get to know them, like just build an actual relationship, and like it was good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not seeking out relationships for your benefit or like for something back from these people, but really just making relationships and honestly seeing how we can even help them too.
Exactly.
And I think I think it gets tricky sometimes because like business sometimes has to be business, you know? But I think for the most part, like being able to give this business to God, we don't have to be so like, I don't know what the word is, but obsessed with the money factor of it, I guess. Okay, I think what we were trying to say in the end of it all is that no matter where you are in your life, we're all given opportunities to serve God. And I think if you really just seek it out and pray on it and ask God, like, what talents, what passions, what areas, what people did he place in your life for you to reach? I think a lot of people's perspective could be changed by that thought of the pressure isn't really on you. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to a job really to sustain yourself, because God will sustain you no matter what. But maybe he placed you in that work environment to reach certain people or You know what I mean? Like maybe
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have something that,
There's a purpose why you're
Yeah.
in these positions, right?
yeah. And so I guess what we're saying is that even if you're not in filmmaking, even if you don't own a business, everybody should have the same why. And we can all use the tools that we were given, the passions that we were given, and the people that are around us to do his good works.
Yeah, that is perfect. How do you come up with those things to say it so smoothly, bro? I'm over here like, oh, this, that. Find your tool. You know what I mean? Like, bro.
I feel like you have good stuff to add because you're also in ministry, which is like huge. And Zion and I, like, we serve at the church and we're in small groups, but we're not really in ministry. So I want to hear more of like, what has that done for you, and how has like working in ministry saved your why, or like your use of your tools.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, I see. Yeah, what's like you're saying, you take all the pressure off of the tools now.
Yeah.
Because you know God's equipped you with it. So you're no longer focused on the end product of your tools. You're focused on your why. So like with filmmaking, I feel a lot less pressure to perform for myself. And I feel like the outcome is changing with that. Just like in anything that I'm doing, like, because with ministry, dude, anything can feel performative if if your heart's not in the right place. Like even like
that's true.
I think
bro.
on the last episode we talked about like public prayer, and sometimes I'm praying in front of the kids, and I gotta like watch myself because I'm like trying to do a good prayer.
That's good.
Or like the lesson, or like the worship that we have. It's easy for to like compare with like the other people that are in ministry, and like, oh dude, I'm not connecting to that kid as well as this person is. And like it's really easy to be in your flesh even when you're doing something like that, like ministry. Again, it's realigning with your
like checking
why.
your heart too.
Yeah,
that's good. I feel like I get like that too. Like when my small group leader prays, like he prays so good. You know what I mean? And I'm like, my prayer's like, yeah, God, thank you, and amen. Like it's not.
Yeah.
And that's just something I'm battling personally, and like I need to like get better at that. I feel like I'm just not confident.
Yeah.
But at the
that's
end
the
of the
thing,
day,
like,
God doesn't care about that.
I know he doesn't, but like for me, that's what I'm thinking of while I'm praying. You know what I mean?
And
so like.
But we both maybe feel a little guilty because it's not pure, because we're
Yeah,
performing a little
yeah.
bit. So until we stop trying to perform,
That's
until we get
true.
over that, we're
That's
gonna
true.
have that problem.
I mean, we're still learning. We're still growing. We always will be. And we still fall short, unfortunately, too. Like, there's times where I allow the stress of things to, like, eat at me, or...
I think that's all of us.
Yeah. Or I allow things to affect me, or I see something and I feel like I'm behind, or whatever it is. Like, we all fall into it sometimes. But I think it comes back to realigning your why.
Yeah.
So that's what this was for. Everybody should be
Realign,
encouraged to realign your why.
Yeah, for those of you watching, I mean, this is for us as well. It's like just a moment to come back and realign yourselves. Check your heart. What's your true intentions and why you're doing things, and everything should be to glorify God. Thank you guys for sticking it through and watching our second episode of What's Your Thrill. This one's a little shorter, but we're going to get straight to the point, get a little detailed. But stay tuned for the next one. Maybe we'll have a special guest. Yes, sir. Give a little rhythm, sweet.
Let your love light shine.